Hello, welcome to My Story. I'm so glad you joined me today. Whatever platform you listen or watch on, thank you. Would you do me a favor? Would you follow us and like us so that others can hear about it and hear our stories? We're glad you're a part of the My Story family. Thank you. Well, I'm back again today. We had such a good time. The last time he was here, I said, let's stay over and let's talk some more. But Andrew was with me last week. We talked about the fatherless society. And I said, why don't you stay and let's talk about becoming a strong father? Mm-hmm. Because I think you're a strong father.
Thank you.
And I think you're very strong in your belief system. And but I know it took time for you to become a strong father because, as you told us previously, your dad was not in your life. Was that we talked after the show that the last time you seen him was you were 5. Mm-hmm. And then you didn't see him again till you were 27.
That's correct.
Then he passed away shortly after that. So you've never really had a father. And so when you're talking about being a strong father, it would leave people to say, if you had no example and nobody to show you, how today are you strong in your leadership role, not only as a father, but as a husband? Because those things go hand in hand. Yeah. And I know one of the things that you do that I love about you is your discipline. You have great discipline because you work a full-time job. You are at school. And you also provide childcare 3 days a week for our little bundle of joy. Yeah. Where you guys work together so you don't have to have daycare. So I have found you to be very disciplined. And I know that discipline plays a big role in being strong. So when you think about strong fathers, what would be your advice to them to become strong?
That's good. Well, thank you for the compliments. First, I would say I heard a wise man once say, you got to be open to instruction. Yeah. That's a big one. And especially in the areas that you want to become a strong father. And even, I guess, even in the areas that you're not necessarily looking for, because those still apply. It just doesn't apply right now, maybe. But so being open to instruction and criticism as well, because that's how we become stronger. And so, I like going to the gym a lot. And so one of the things is there's a lot of tension. There's a lot of aches and pains but that signals growth. Mm-hmm. And so I have to be willing to go through those aches and pains and also take constructive criticism and instruction from guys that have been there previously, the guys that I'm striving to be more like. And so, but yeah, like you said, discipline is a huge one as well. And I think that's the hardest one, is becoming disciplined in that. But it's one of those things you have to realize, hey, this is my family. These are my children. And society's going to have their input, but how much do I let that get to my children? Because a lot of it needs to stop with me. Wow. So, hey, we're not going to let this leak into their lives. And some of it you do want to take some advice and all that. But, yeah, like you said, I think, discipline and then, just having that ear, they always say you have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. You got to listen twice as much as you talk. And so that's a big thing and becoming a father as well.
So when you said you want to protect your child, you don't want certain things to leak into that child, what would be an example of things as you as a strong father don't want leaking into your children?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, there's just tons of negativity out there in the world. And I think the bigger one, the biggest one, I guess I would say is the common saying of like, you can't do this, you can't do that. And so that's a big thing for me, especially having Jaden right now. She's 14, almost 15. And a lot of people are very limiting mm-hmm. for her. And so she can't do these things and she needs to do this and look this way and view herself this way. Right. And so that's a big thing of like, no, you got this, you can do these things. Again, just pouring into her more when so many people are trying to drain her. Right. I think is the biggest one I would definitely shield my children from.
Right. So that the negativity don't leak into. I love one of the things, and this could be touchy for some people, But I love one of the things that you said about Peyton when he was born. You said, "My name is Peyton Andrew Thom. I'm a boy and I like girls."
Yeah.
And you meant that.
Absolutely.
Because you want to declare that over him. Because you don't want gender confusion to creep into his life.
Yeah.
Because he is a boy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Talk about that.
Yeah. So that's, like you said, I wanted to declare that over his life. And so that's like things we still say to this day, because again, there's going to be these worldly things that people are trying to declare over. Again, with Jaden, people are like, you have to do this, you have to be this way. Even if it's, you can be whatever you want gender wise.
Right.
No, we're going to declare it right now. As you said with Peyton, we're like, no, I am a boy. And I like girls.
Yeah.
That's what we do.
Yeah.
And that's what we're called to do. And so again, just declaring that, because there are so many different influences, whether it be media or friends or even teachers, whatever it is, there's a lot of negative influence. And so I need to be that positive influence whenever I'm around him. And even when he doesn't even know it, as he does now, he's 1.5. And so just speaking over him while he sleeps. And as you said, as soon as he was born.
Yeah, you did. I think you probably did it before he was born, because we knew he was a boy.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So, but and I think about strong fathers. I had a wonderful father, but there was areas that he wasn't as strong in. And those weak areas affected us in so many ways. We laugh about it now, but my dad was a runner. And what I mean by that is if things got hard, he ran, as though running or getting out of the situation was going to change the situation, when the fact was it only brought relief. And wherever he went, the next place he went, the same issue that caused him to run from the last place affected him in the new place. So that was something that leaked into my life, in that I learned early on, if it's not going the way you want it to go, and usually it was our own fault, then just get up and leave. Shake the dust off your feet and just move on. That harmed me, because later on in life, especially when Mark came into my life, Mark's not a runner. Mark's going to face things head on. And I had to learn that, I like what you said, leaking in, that wrong concepts had leaked into me. And therefore, I was weak in an area that I needed to be strong in, because my father was weak in that area. And so I love that what you said about not letting things leak into your children. And so we talked about weak things. What about some strong things that you want to leak into Peyton and to Jaden? What are those strong attributes as a father that you want to pass down to them?
Yeah. Well, one of them you talked about is discipline. Be very disciplined in every aspect of life, I think is a big one for Jaden and Peyton as well. And then confidence as well. And it doesn't mean so much confidence of when you walk into a room, everyone looks at you kind of confidence, but confidence in your morals, your values, your beliefs, your decisions as well. But also like you said, the willingness to pick yourself back up and not run. Right. And because I do see a lot, I think of at an airport, you have the baggage claim, and there are a lot of men that instead of getting off the plane and going picking up your baggage and picking up your children's baggage as well, they walked right past it. And it's like, man, you can't really spend a vacation without your luggage. Right. You need that. And so same thing in life is you got to go up to that baggage claim and you got to pick it up, or else it's going to keep spinning, and you're going to be without in life. And so I think that's a big thing too, is taking care of what needs to be taken care of, and the time. And again, especially in today's society, like you said, I think a lot of people point to running. Let's get away from these things. Let's try the different avenues. Let's try to avoid that baggage claim as much as we can. And at the end of the day, you need it. You need to approach it head on.
Just pick it up and deal with it.
Absolutely.
I love that. So when we're talking about being strong fathers, that means we might have to unpack some junk every once in a while.
Absolutely.
And deal with it.
Yeah. Especially if you're a father that's married as well. There's so many things that you have to unpack not only within yourself, but also with your children and having those conversations. And I think that's another thing, another area to where you can be a strong father is diving deeper into that, realizing that there's going to be some emotional battles that you're going to have to face. And I think typically as men, we don't want to have that. We're supposed to be the strong protector, providers. But at the end of the day, we need to be vulnerable and transparent. And obviously to a certain extent with our children, but let that filter into them and showing them, especially with Peyton, being my son, is letting him know, hey, it's okay to like you said, unpack some stuff, be emotional, and be open to instruction, like I said earlier, of, hey, how do I fix these things? How do I go about doing this?
There's a podcast that you and I both watch. And the gentleman on that podcast said that the greatest help he ever was to his son. And he said another minister ministered to him and said, look, his son was on drugs and just really going wild. And the father in his life advised him and said, if you want to help your son, then you got to tell him the truth about your battles. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And he said, I had tried to correct him, all the things that we want to try to do, ground him, take privileges away. But he said, when I sat down and said to him, look, you're in a struggle. Let me tell you about my struggle. And he said, when I started sharing my struggle with him, that's when he got help, was hearing my struggle. And I think growing up in my home, my father didn't want us to know his struggles. They were secrets. And so then when we were struggling with things, we'd be like, what in the world is this? Well, it was the junk in my dad's trunk that he never dealt with that was coming back that we were having to deal with. So I love the fact that you're saying, get your luggage off the carousel, get off the merry-go-round and deal with it. If there was one thing that you could say to men today to encourage them to be strong, look right there at that camera and tell them what it would be.
One thing to encourage them. I think, there's a couple things, but I think the big one I would say is that you're not alone.
There you go.
There's so many different guys out here, fathers out here that are going through the same things. And not only are we here to help and guide you along the way, but just know that you're not alone in this. This is not something that makes you weak or different. It makes you very much in with the crowd. And so I just want to encourage you that the fact that you're listening right now shows growth. It shows improvement. And so that's one way we're able to strive to be better. So that would be my big thing, is you're not alone.
You're not alone. And that is the truth today. If you're listening, if you're watching, you're not alone. There are other people that have walked where you're walking, have went through what you went through. Your story is not over. It's just beginning. And like Andrew said earlier, one of the reasons why he's where he's at today is he was open to instruction. And he didn't just get that instruction from people. He got that instruction by reading, by listening, by taking the time to be disciplined, to watch a podcast, to get out his Bible, to go to a men's Bible study, to glean from others. So if you're somewhere today and you feel stuck in a chapter, let me encourage you, just get up, go find some instruction, follow the instruction, get out of that chapter and walk into a new chapter, because your story's not over. Thank you, Andrew.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time.
Thank you for listening to the My Story podcast. We appreciate your support and hope this week's episode was a blessing to you. For inspiring stories, be sure to follow, like us, and share this with a friend. Until next time, thank you and be blessed.